Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high level game on one of the new maps from the TLMC number 917. Bottom right we have ShoWTimE playing for Team Berlin International Gamer, and top left we have for Team GP our good friend Ryung. Ryung opening up with a no scout, except for this marine that just quickly checked around the main base, followed it up with a factory as well as a reactor. ShoWTimE also opting for a no scout, so neither player actually wanting to know what's going on this game. And opens up with a very fast Stargate over here, which is, in my mind, somewhat interesting. Now, this is, once again, a very pretty map. We see some water. I think there's a waterfall somewhere over here as well. Yeah, look at that. Lights going down as well. Yeah, this is actually very well made. The person who made this map should be proud when it comes to making maps aesthetically pleasing. When it comes to taking a third base on this map, though, that's a little bit less pleasing, especially if you're a Protoss player. It seems pretty tricky. Lots of big areas where you can get blasted by Terrans. Now, this Adept is going to finish the shade. No, it's not. It's going to not finish the shade. That means that this Marine gets to live. I think that might have been a mistake here out of ShoWTimE. I think he could have finished that shade. Killed one Marine and then pissed off. It's almost always possible if you're playing against Marine into Factory, which is the builder that Ryung went for this time around. Second Hellion on the way as well. Okay. Triple Hellion drop is a possibility, of course. I think he's going to hide the follow-up cars, though. It's just going to be the first car that will be shown, and then you just poke in, get a cheeky scout in there, and that's about it. There are 3 Adepts out already. There's a 4th Adept on the way, a very ShoWTimE-esque move. Don't think you should commit with this Hellion. No. Actually, says Ryung, I am going to commit with this Hellion. Might even get a little bit of damage done, but not quite the case. Oracle takes quick care of that. It's going to be a 2 Hellion drop. That's not really a build order that is super popular. Oh. Oh. It's going to be a 7 Marine drop with a 2 Hellion run by. This is a build that I actually don't mind as much. The problem is, of course, is that there's no units at home whatsoever. This is a huge gamble as well, hoping that ShoWTimE is not going to go in. Believe that there's mines in the mineral line, but there are no mines in the mineral line. Look at this. Oh my god, if ShoWTimE would have actually committed a little bit faster, he could have dealt so much damage. But instead, ShoWTimE might be the one that's actually in a bit of trouble. 7 Marines moving in towards the main base. 2 Hellions, well, waiting to go in towards the natural. Drop is about to finish up. ShoWTimE not so sure what's going on here. Second Oracle also out right now will help for sure. Maybe should actually assist in the natural to deal with these cars. Because these cars are going to be the real damage dealers here when it comes to the workers. The 4 Adepts stay in the main base. Phoenix is about to finish up, will be capable of chasing this down. 5 workers have gone down already. And this Oracle will need to return to, well, to its duty of perhaps fighting Marines here. I'm not so sure what's happening. This is a pretty wild game already. Lots of things happening. Raven is on the way. We see a factory constructing a reactor right now. We have an eBay on the way as well. There's 2 extra barracks already building. And we have a Robo Bay, which is so late that you might as well not have gotten it anymore. This is a Phoenix Colossus opener without the Phoenix in the early game. So it's an Oracle Colossus opener with, I guess, delayed Phoenix, but also a delayed Robo Bay. And it's pretty scary if you're ShoWTimE here. This is going to be the 1 Hellion that's still alive. But for how much longer, if that's his hobby. If his hobby is shooting at Nexus, that is a Nexi that are building, then I don't think he's gonna live a very long and prosperous life. Quite the opposite, most likely, actually. Oracles, one of them gonna activate, we'll take out that car. Even without attacking a Nexus, it wasn't safe after all. Very frustrating. Just oh so frustrating. Another thing that is, well, not necessarily frustrating, but a bit odd, is this Disruptor that ShoWTimE is building here. It's something we actually don't see that much, and I'm confused by it, but also excited to see what this is going to be. I mean, sure, it is pretty late. Oh, he scouted the Raven. I guess that's the reason why he's doing this. He's like, wait, I don't want to get Colossus against a Raven. I want to get Disruptors instead. So he's going to open with Disruptors here. And without Blink. So it's going to be Charge. Almost no Phoenix. But still some Phoenix. And then Disruptors. I like this, maybe? I've never really thought of playing Phoenix Colossus without the Colossus. Because the Phoenix Colossus, well, the word Colossus is kind of in there. And initially starting with those Disruptors, it does, you know, it puts an interesting twist on all of it. It's less consistent in its defense, but It has the possibility to deal a lot of damage, which is super cool, obviously. There's already 2 Disruptors out. Against Raven openers, it might just be worth it. Just opening up with 2 Disruptors, and then I think you still need to get Colossus eventually, so you just swap the order around. Usually you open up with a Colossus and then go into Disruptors. This time around, we're most likely going to see the reverse, and I'm here for it, honestly. I am here for it. I think this is mightily interesting. There's a lot of possibilities with that now that I think about it, and I just really like the thought of it. I really do like the thought of it. The thought of starting with Disruptors. That's so cool. It's going to be 4 Disruptors here at a very high pace being pumped out. They're going to get scanned, and this might kind of trigger Ryung into going for some drop play, which he is very, very competent at. This Disruptor is going to hit that mine while the mine hits the Observer. And now indeed we're heading into a 4 medevac drop. There are 5 Phoenixes out, however, which should be capable of stopping this from going down completely. I am so interested to see how this is going to pan out. Like defensively, but also just... Yeah, okay, we're seeing a Colossus now. Just like different transitions that you can do as Protoss from here on out. This is really a different approach. A very, very different approach. And the main weakness of the Disruptor is its ability to split. And I think we're seeing, well, a little bit of that right now, where ShoWTimE's really struggling to get a lot of units in towards his 3rd base location, while also keeping his main base safe. Oracles are, of course, helping with that. Now, don't forget that mines are going to be easily cleaned up by the Disruptor force. At the same time, he needs to keep his main base safe. This is a very short distance, by the way, to kind of pick up and boost into. There is, well, the 1 Oracle is going to end up falling here. The Phoenixes get pushed back. We have a Zealot warping in the main base as well. So you kind of have a sharking Terran player here, just waiting for a moment to truly hit his opponent. You know, just waiting for a moment here to bite, and to get that blood going. Doesn't quite seem to be the case now. Not yet, at least. 4th base is going to be taken in a line formation. I don't quite think that ShoWTimE has the ability to really defend that. This is like a very optimistic 4th base. It's like, if it goes up, it goes up. If it gets cancelled, I lose 100 minerals. Not the end of the world. It's like a massive spotter in a way that, you know, could potentially in the future kind of function as a base and as a way to mine. 7 Phoenixes, so a lot still invested into those Phoenixes that have done no damage whatsoever in this game. They just haven't. It's an absolute fact here. Vikings being constructed. That's another thing here, right? Is that rushing into Vikings feels kind of weird if your opponent opens up with pure Disruptor. Do you even really want to go into that? I'm not sure. Just the entire setup feels weird. And I like it. I like it when games go a little bit weird. It feels like Ryung also isn't entirely sure what he wants to do against this. He's kind of standing around waiting for stuff to happen to him. But usually against Protoss, that's the one thing you don't want to do, is waiting for stuff to happen to you. You want to be the aggressive one. You want to be the player that's out on the map, that's doing stuff, that's jumping in and out. And that's not going to be the case here, because the Protoss is the one in control. 7 Phoenixes are still alive. Very solid defensive position out of ShoWTimE, which is kind of what he's known for, of course. Known as Die Mauer, which means the wall in German. Because he really just defends like a freaking wall most of the time. It's difficult to beat a wall. Not sure if you ever tried getting into a fist fight with a wall. Even if you beat the wall, you haven't really won, because you probably hurt your knuckles more than you hurt the wall. Uh-oh! Here, part of the wall is being broken down, though. 2 Phoenixes get taken out. That means that the main base now is in some potential trouble. Ryung spots this immediately and loads up 5 medevacs. Starts moving into that direction. There is already an army split off here, which is interesting, but it's not really in the correct position. Perhaps with some good SimCity abuse, Ryung could still take an okay fight. Zealots are going to connect with this army. Mines do not quite get the burrows that they need to. The Colossus in the far back is dishing out a lot of damage. Phoenix is not really paying attention. There's only 2 remaining anyway. This medevac is not going to get taken out. I think what overall was a successful fight though for ShoWTimE, who's now trying to get in here, but a mine and a turret make short work of that dream. Turret might eventually get taken out, or at least start burning, but the Zealot will get cleaned up without any major issues here. Yeah, just a quick repair on the turret and life is going to be a-okay. We still have Ryung just being out on the map, waiting for his opportunity to jump on his opponent. There is just no vision whatsoever here for ShoWTimE. I mean, he still has an Oracle, so he can revelate stuff, but that really is about it. He has no vision on the bottom side, no vision in the middle here. He just has no clue where his opponent's army is. Now we're going to get to see a single revelation, perhaps. No, Oracle's going to get taken out. At the same time, this army is moving in towards the 5th base location. We see a scan, making sure there's no observers available here. This mine is burrowing on the 5th. This probe, is it going to scan? Or is it going to scout this army here? No, it's not. It really feels like Ryung is doing a great job at denying vision out of ShoWTimE. Keeping that Raven alive for so long is super helpful. Fusion Core is now on the way, probably not for battle cruisers, but most likely just going to be for Liberators with range. This army is starting to move in. And with one Ghost available, a single Warpin just simply isn't going to be enough. The EMP hasn't been used yet, but could be used pretty soon. We have another fight going down at the same time. Anti-armor missile got used on this Disruptor Colossus force. As ShoWTimE is now moving in to try and take his 5th base. Once again, an army split coming out of the German Protoss player. Very strong defensive setup, but not so sure if it's going to be good enough. Ryung with the constant scanning, with the constant vision everywhere. Oh, sees this observer. Very important. He actually gets it as well. Yep, there we go. Go's definitely helping out with that. So that's a zoning EMP there, making sure that ShoWTimE doesn't really want to chase into that location. 7 more Marauders show up here. Is that 7? Yep, that's 7 Marauders. Big Stim coming in as well. And feels like Ryung expected an army to be there. Now it's just going to engage into this. Another EMP is available. It's going to connect with some of these Stalkers. I think with that Colossus as well, partially. Zealots will stay alive. This is too many Marauders, though. And I do believe that ShoWTimE will need to kind of send over a couple of extra Zealots into this position. Well, more than just a couple of extra Zealots. Probably more like 15 Zealots or so to deal with this. 5th base is going to get cancelled here. And these cannons will also get taken out. At the same time, the top side is trying to poke in as well. ShoWTimE right now with a very major army split. Struggling to keep up with the upgrades that Ryung is pumping out. There is just a lot of issues right now in this game for our Protoss player. Who is building a Dark Shrine. But I don't really see the future with a Dark Shrine here. There's just full map control right now for Ryung. Oh! Blink forward out of ShoWTimE. He's going to take out a couple of these medevacs. Marauders also starting to fall as the Zealots continue chasing. There's no concussive shell. Yeah, I was looking at them like, why are none of these Zealots actually being slowed? It's because concussive shell hasn't been researched for some reason. I'm surprised that Ryung didn't realize that during that fight. It was fairly obvious. Liberators are being added into the mix. We have ship weapons. We have advanced ballistics already done. I didn't even realize that. The moment you build Liberators and you have map control, life for Protoss is going to become really, really difficult. And that's the case here. Ryung still has map control and has Liberators, which means that ShoWTimE will need to engage with these Liberators at some point. We have the armor. We have the high sec auto tracking as well. Vikings are taking out these Phoenixes, and triple medevacs are helping out this massive Marauder force. Not that many Marines here, and I guess it's not really necessary. A couple of Disruptor shots are going to connect in a big way, and Liberator a bit too far forward is vulnerable against potential Stalkers. At the same time, though, a massive rotation coming out of Ryung is just going to take out this topside base. ShoWTimE tries to initiate a bit of a base race. I'm not so sure if that's the correct call here, though. You're just down bases, and killing planetaries is never that easy. There is going to be some units chilling at home. As once again, Ryung going for a semi-army split here. ShoWTimE keeping some Disruptors at home. Planetary is probably going to end up falling. Disruptor connects with 3 Ghosts there, which is nice. Planetary goes down. We're still working, though, with 6 bases for Ryung against a mere 4 bases for ShoWTimE. 5th base is here. This bottom side base could also fall, which would be a big deal. And ShoWTimE actually managing to take out 2 bases at the price of only 1. At the same time, though, Marauders getting decent trades. Disruptors are still alive. Could shoot off a Purification Nova. Once again, we have another rotation coming out of Ryung, whose movement so far has been, honestly, one of the big plus points in this game. If you're a Terran player enjoying some PvP here, I think this has been fantastic to watch. Once again, ShoWTimE kind of dodging responsibility and saying, fighting with your army is fun, but it's more fun to fight against your workers. They're a lot weaker. Ryung wants to go home to defend against that. It's probably a wise decision because he just has such a massive bank. He wants the game to be more stable. He wants the game to kind of go longer. Topside base gets taken out here by the DTs. I thought they were going to be useless. ShoWTimE said, no, look at this. Bang, bang. Another planetary taken out. It's actually pretty low. The income is pretty low here for Ryung right now. I'm curious what he's going to do about that. He is adding, like, he still has these extra orbital commands, but he needs planetaries right now. There are DTs out as well, which are going to obviously make life a little bit harder. The Disruptor count is at 9, which means that any type of straight-up engagement where Liberators aren't sieged up, it's just going to go into the advantage of ShoWTimE very, very quickly. This army is going to get cut off by some random Purification Novas. We'll get a couple of big hits. One more coming in. Will not quite get the connections though. 8 Disruptors still alive. 9 Liberators still alive. Don't forget that is with the +2 ship weapons and with the advanced ballistics. Which means that this base is going to fall once these Liberators get into position. There are 6 here and I just don't really see a way for ShoWTimE to engage into this. There are still a lot of units at home as well, though, for Ryung, who's going to defend with a quick scan. This base indeed will end up falling. A lot of these DTs are going to end up dying here as well. You can't just blink into this. There's so many Marauders, it will absolutely rip through the Stalkers. No Ghost available. It's going to help out Purification Nova. Good splits against it. Means it's only going to kill a couple of units, but not all that much. Liberator here on the top side will take out a couple of these workers. 180 supply against 165. As we've had a basically non-stop action for the past 4.5 minutes or so. A game that was slow to start, but well, now that we really got into the action, it's getting very, very exciting. Purification Novas are going down. Snipes on these Disruptors, not quite going the way that Ryung would want it to. Now we have a blink forward here on top of the Liberators. 2 get taken out, 3 get taken out. More target fire as every single one is going to end up falling. Ryung is up in supply. Has a bigger army. Still has his production running as well behind this. And with Liberators probably can keep that production up and running as well. But might end up losing a couple of these CCs. And the moment you start losing all of your command centers, perhaps DTs can, you know, start becoming a bit more important. Of course, with Ghost still alive, EMP can always reveal those DTs, or always detect those Dark Templar. There's still 1 mining base currently on the map, and that one belongs to ShoWTimE. But for how much longer is the real question. 1 DT is indeed here. So we still have 2 orbital commands with plenty of scans available. So that's going to end up falling. Are there still Disruptors alive? Yes, we have 4 Disruptors. We have 10 Liberators. And I think we have simply too many units altogether here for Ryung, who's going to send his second army out as well right now. Without any medeffects whatsoever, but I'm not quite sure if that actually matters. Oh, Disruptors get some decent hits there on the top side. Good blink towards that higher ground, making it difficult for Ryung to actually push into this position. Always the risk of a Stalker flank being there makes this just very, very tricky. Would love for these 2 Liberators to reposition towards this ramp. Ooh, this is a weird setup, honestly. DTs are going to blink out of the Liberator zones, as more Liberators are indeed showing up. 1 DT dealing way too much damage. Should get scammed to death. Yeah, ShoWTimE kind of backed into a corner here though. The 1 remaining mining base that he has. Does have a lot of Stalkers at home as well, but he needs something. And I don't think he's gonna get it. He needs a very, very good fight. He needs to get rid of a lot of these Liberators for free. This DT is doing some work. Probes moving away. We have a Stalker flank here from the bottom side. Oh no, huge miscommand out of ShoWTimE. Is going to lose 8-9 Stalkers there for free. This army was partially isolated once again. And perhaps a base race, initiating a base race, but it doesn't quite feel like that's going to be possible here. Production tab is open, but just completely empty, as neither player is producing anything whatsoever. ShoWTimE might be backing himself into a bit of a corner here, as I don't quite see how he's going to get out of here. More Stalkers are moving in right now. 1 Marauder gets taken out. Ghost could get sniped. Is that the last Ghost? No, there's 3 more Ghosts available. Did reveal that Observer. It's not going to be the end of the world. Although an Observer is nice to have. Yeah, it stays alive, so it really doesn't matter all that much. These Liberators managed to get back home, as these Stalkers are now being chased. I think they actually need to recall out if they want to ever get to safety. Going to be tricky to get out otherwise. Oh, maybe you can actually snipe 1 Liberator. Yep, there we go. 1 Lib gets taken out. This Ghost is in some trouble maybe as well. No, gets an EMP off. Disruptors moving into position. No mining for either player right now. Except maybe some long distance mining. Purification Novas will not finish up. Will get sniped just barely in time. A pretty big deal there, as without those snipes, I'm not saying that ShoWTimE is winning, but perhaps he can make something happen. If you kill, what, 8-9 Marauders for free there, there's only Liberators and Medevacs left. That's not a lot of fighting power. This time around, though, Ryung is going to end up winning in a very interesting Terran versus Protoss. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching this beautiful new map, Babylon, with Ryung versus ShoWTimE. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.